Ryan has a question, and he's really got a lot of thoughts, and I'm going to try and pull a question out of this. They're good thoughts, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. He says that, do you think that we will be alleviated of all suffering, physical, emotional, mental, in heaven or in the new earth? If so, is the alleviation of all suffering something that we should be actively working toward on this earth now? Should we be trying to alleviate suffering? And he's having a hard time, Ryan is, he's having a hard time connecting the dots between Paul's words that we are going to suffer and that we should rejoice in that suffering, and Jesus going around healing people and alleviating their suffering. Should we strive for self-sacrificial suffering while also trying to reshape our perspective on suffering the way that Paul outlines? And Ryan, ultimately, he just fears that when you hold on to this idea of alleviating all suffering, you could just end up avoiding your fear of death, which we're not supposed to be afraid of. And so as a way of kind of, because of our fear of death, we're trying to alleviate all this suffering. And so, but then on the other hand, he sees that Jesus is healing people and alleviating them of their suffering, and likely he's extending their lives. So how do we bring our understanding of suffering into a kingdom mindset?
All right. Thanks, Ryan. First thing I do is distinguish between your run-of-the-mill suffering and kingdom suffering. The kind of suffering that Paul and Jesus say that we are going to be involved in happens as a result of our being a follower of Jesus. It's most obvious, of course, when you're in a culture where Christians are persecuted and they end up being martyred. And early Christians all expected that. When you sign up to be a Christian, you're signing up at least for the possibility, if not the likelihood, that you're going to be martyred, or at least imprisoned. Things are not going to go well for you in this life. That is suffering with Christ. I think that's what, when Paul refers to his participating in the suffering of Christ, he's participating in the sufferings of Christ because he's participating in Christ. He's participating in what Christ is doing and what Christ is up to in this world, and he's suffering for the same kind of reasons. So whenever we are suffering from as a result of our kingdom call, and we're sacrificing as a result of our kingdom call, maybe being persecuted as a result of our kingdom call, that we're to take joy in. Rejoice. Jesus tells us that when you're persecuted. For those reasons, because it means you're going down the right path. You're doing something right. But we live in a fallen world where we suffer for a lot of other reasons. And that's just a matter of, it's not a matter, Jesus wasn't doing miracles to prolong people's life. Like longevity is the goal. In fact, longevity only becomes an issue when he raises people from the dead. All the other ones, there's nothing to suggest that their longevity was increased or decreased or anything. He heals people because he's demonstrating God's character and God's love for people, but he's also putting on display how the world should be. Okay, so sickness, disease, infirmities, all of that, we weren't meant to experience those things. Whenever you have part of your body that's not working right or not working pain-free, it's because there's something wrong with your body. Pain is always a sign that's saying something's off. And so when Jesus heals people, he's simply righting a wrong. The wrong is that we acquire or we're born with these afflictions. That all is a result of us being born into a corrupted creation where nothing works exactly the way it was supposed to work. Death itself is not part of God's original plan. That Bible tells us Satan is the Lord of death, which tells us then that all the natural laws as they are right now are not identical with the laws that God originally envisioned for us. So Jesus comes to demonstrate the bringing of the kingdom, and therefore to demonstrate the righting of the world, making right all the things that are wrong in the world. And that's why he heals people of their, and we're to be about that. We're alleviating suffering is a central aspect of the call of the kingdom, because you're demonstrating love. Everything from giving a cup of cold water to the least of these, to laying down your life for a friend. We're to be the already in a world that is not yet. Okay, that means we're to be a preview of the direction the world is heading, a preview of what it looks like when God reigns over a people. And part of what it looks like is caring about the suffering of others and demonstrating God's love to them.